Hi, my name is Heather, and I was diagnosed with pheochromocytoma and paraganglioma in 2007. I was 17 years old, and I went in for a simple hernia repair surgery. While they were performing the surgery, my blood pressure spiked to 250 over 150. The doctors immediately knew that something was wrong and that a follow-up had to be had. So I was referred to specialists, eventually worked up through multiple scans, blood work, and was diagnosed with paragangliomas. Well, I'll never forget that fall before I was diagnosed. I would be just dripping sweat at all times. It was abnormal. I had migraines every single day. I remember getting to school in the morning and everybody was sitting in the classroom wearing their winter coats, and I would be sitting there in a tank top being able to literally wring my hair with sweat. Those two definitely stood out the most for me. My heart would be pounding. It was like if you were scared and you could never calm down. My workup included endless blood tests, every single scan that the NIH could offer at that time, urine tests as well. Every 6 months, I have my blood tested. My levels that are tested are for catecholamines, epinephrine, norepinephrine, chromogramin A. The only treatments I've ever received is to have surgery. In the last 10 years, I've had 3 major surgeries, and they've removed 12 tumors in total. This disease, I tend to stay very positive and live in the moment, and I try not to scare myself and think ahead to the next time I get blood work or the next time I have a scan. But what really confused me the most was before my last surgery. I went in for simple blood work. I had no symptoms. I felt totally fine, and there it was again. These tumors showed up in my scans, and before I knew it, I was scheduled for surgery. I think psychologically that was something that has completely ruined my take on this disease. I always thought that I would have warning and symptoms to look out for, and that really scared me for the future, that it could just be hiding. Yes, I think this disease impacts my family. We have a very close relationship, and it's a constant worry for all of them. I'll never forget when we went through genetic testing and we got the results back, and we found out that this disease came from my mother's side. To this day, she blames herself, even though she has zero control over passing on this gene. We can't trace it back to any other member on her side of the family. And I think it really destroys her inside. And no matter what I tell her, she just can't seem to get over the fact that it came from her side. And I have to say that probably weighs the heaviest on me, because now as a mother, I couldn't imagine feeling that sense of responsibility, and it breaks my heart that she feels that way every day. My sister Tiffany also has the gene. She has not showed any signs of having the actual disease. You know, all of us do live in fear that one day it will show its ugly head, and it's just something that you live with this disease. Just, you live in fear of it, unfortunately. My mother also has the gene, and it's the same thing. You know, she was able to have 2 children without herself showing any signs of the disease, which is amazing, but it's never too late for this disease to show up, and that scares us all. I don't feel alone right now, but I have to say one of my biggest fears is to feel alone when I'm an elderly woman, and if I don't have these physicians to look to. My parents right now, who have done amazing work with this foundation, I just hope that the SDHB coalition is still here and still taking care of patients and raising awareness, because without this organization, that is a lost hope for us patients. When I was first diagnosed, it was unbelievably overwhelming. I was 17 years old. I thought to be living a normal, happy, fun life. My world was just turned upside down. Before I knew it, I spent, most days in the week in a hospital, different doctor's offices. I did feel very discouraged, but I knew that I had no choice. I had to go through these surgeries. It was life or death. When surgeries came up and I was told I was, going to lose my bladder because a tumor the size of a lemon came through the bladder wall. I mean, these are all very hard things to deal with when you're 17, especially. But, you get through everything, and even though you live in fear, I just try to live in the moment, and I don't think about the next blood test, the next scan. I just try to stay happy and positive. While being worked up for my last surgery 4.5 years ago, the experts in the field recommended that I have my fallopian tubes removed because it was too much of a risk for me and for the unborn baby to be pregnant. It just was not worth it. So I elected to have my fallopian tubes removed. In that moment, it felt like, it was my only option. And I'm glad that I did it because the last thing I wanted was to pass this gene on to my children. But as life goes on and you meet someone you love and you want to have children, that's when you face your disease and the reality of it and what it did to your life. Luckily, we were able to go down an alternative route, and I have a daughter today, but it was not an easy journey. It was 3.5 years in the making, and I can live with that because I know that she will never have to go through anything that I went through with this disease, and that gives me peace. I would say to patients that there is definitely a hope for a normal life. I think maybe change what you think is normal. Going to get your blood work every 6 months and a scan once a year, it's not ideal, but these are the precautions you have to take with this disease. So for me, this has become my normal, and just stay positive, and I think it works wonders with this disease. So with this disease, we get blood work. Physicians recommend that patients get blood work every 6 months. I would be lying if I said that when it came time for that blood work, I would be kind of frustrated and, reminded once again how much I hate the fact that I have this disease. But do not be irresponsible and miss that blood work appointment. Go to your scans, because by turning your head from it, you're just going to let it, take over you. And you should be empowered by the knowledge and that you have this disease and you can be in control. Don't let this disease take control over your life.